Hi, I'm Alex. If you're captivated by the intricate dynamics of global power and wealth, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Today, we are embarking on an in-depth exploration of the economic conflict between the United States and China, a clash that has fundamentally altered the landscape of global trade and international relations, affecting not only the two nations involved, but economies across the globe. The trade war commenced in 2018, marking a pivotal moment that sent shockwaves through economies worldwide. This confrontation was initiated by the Trump administration's aggressive trade policy, which imposed tariffs on approximately $350 billion worth of Chinese imports. In retaliation, China responded with tariffs on about $100 billion of U.S. exports. This tit-for-tat exchange not only escalated tensions between the two nations, but also set the stage for a protracted economic standoff that continues to this day, with significant implications for global supply chains and markets. The stakes were monumental. By the end of 2018, the bilateral trade volume between the U.S. and China reached an astounding $683 billion, with the U.S. exporting $120 billion and importing $563 billion. This significant trade imbalance became a focal point for U.S. policymakers, who contended that America was operating at a disadvantage. Key issues included forced technology transfers and rampant intellectual property theft, which U.S. officials estimated cost the American economy as much as $600 billion annually. This staggering figure not only highlights the severity of the situation, but also underscores the broader implications for U.S. economic security, as it threatens high-wage jobs and high-value-added manufacturing in the United States. As tariffs began to take effect, American consumers started to feel the repercussions. By late 2020, the average tariff imposed on Chinese goods had surged to 19.3%, while China's tariffs on U.S. products reached 20.3%. This escalation translated into significant financial burdens for American households, with projections indicating an average increase of around $1,100 per household by 2025. Economists warned that these tariffs could potentially reduce U.S. GDP by 0.5%, while simultaneously driving up consumer prices across a wide range of goods, from electronics to everyday household items. The economic toll was not just theoretical. It manifested in higher prices at checkout counters and diminished purchasing power for American families. However, the trade war was not merely an economic issue. It was also a strategic maneuver aimed at containing China's rising influence on the global stage. Analysts suggested that the U.S. sought to curb China's ascent as a dominant global superpower, a sentiment that resonated with a considerable segment of the American public. The fear was palpable. A China that could potentially dominate critical sectors of the global economy, from technology to manufacturing, posed a direct threat to U.S. interests and security. This perception of threat fueled a narrative that justified aggressive trade policies and heightened scrutiny of Chinese investments in the U.S. In response to the escalating conflict, China adopted its own strategic pivot. Confronted with U.S. tariffs and restrictions, Chinese manufacturers began to seek new markets and alternative avenues for growth. This shift resulted in a record-high trade surplus for China, which reached approximately $535 billion in 2021, as they increasingly focused on exporting to countries outside the U.S. The irony was striking. While the U.S. aimed to weaken China's economic position, the tariffs inadvertently compelled China to adapt and thrive in new ways, enhancing its global trade network and reducing reliance on American markets. The Phase 1 trade deal, signed in early 2020, was heralded as a significant breakthrough in the trade war. Under this agreement, China committed to purchasing an additional $200 billion worth of American goods and services by the end of 2021, a target that many analysts deemed ambitious. Yet critics argued that this deal failed to address the underlying issues at the heart of the conflict. Tariffs on American products remained intact, and many experts pointed out that the deal could inadvertently harm other countries as China reduced imports from third nations to fulfill its commitments, thereby distorting global trade patterns. The economic model of China, heavily reliant on state-owned enterprises and government subsidies, added further complexity to the trade landscape. Critics highlighted that this model created an uneven playing field for international competitors. The Chinese Communist Party's control over key industries stifled innovation and maintained a level of protectionism that foreign businesses found challenging to navigate. This dynamic only fueled U.S. frustrations and deepened the chasm between the two economic giants, as American companies struggled to compete on an uneven playing field. Amidst the turmoil, the global economic landscape began to shift in profound ways. Countries around the world started to reevaluate their trade relationships with China. As protective measures surged, many nations sought to shield their markets from potential Chinese dominance. The changing dynamics underscored the fragility of global supply chains, as companies scrambled to adapt to new tariffs and shifting trade patterns, highlighting vulnerabilities that had previously gone unnoticed. For instance, industries such as electronics and automotive manufacturing faced significant disruptions, prompting companies to rethink their sourcing strategies and diversify their supply chains. Looking ahead, the US-China economic war remains a pivotal chapter in the ongoing narrative of global commerce. The conflict has exposed the vulnerabilities of interconnected economies and the far-reaching implications of trade policy on the everyday lives of individuals. Whether through tariffs, trade agreements, or strategic maneuvering, the stakes are high, and the outcomes remain uncertain. The potential for a decoupling of the two economies looms large, with significant implications for global trade and investment flows. What does this mean for consumers and businesses alike? As tariffs continue to shape the economic landscape, the potential for increased prices and reduced availability of goods looms large. The economic war has fostered an environment of uncertainty, compelling businesses to navigate a complex web of regulations and tariffs to thrive in an ever-changing marketplace. This uncertainty may lead to shifts in consumer behavior as households adjust their spending habits in response to rising prices and fluctuating product availability. If you found this exploration of the US-China economic war compelling, please like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth analyses of wealth, power, and the forces that shape our world. In our next video, we will delve into how nations are strategizing to emerge from this economic conflict, examining the potential paths forward for both the US and China. The journey of understanding this complex relationship is just beginning, and its resolution will undoubtedly shape the future of global economic dynamics.